Welcome
to Leadcast. Let's go.
in trivia.
Immediately.
It's my pleasure.
Without delay.
Hello and welcome to Leadcast episode 189. It is the 5th of August. My name is Christopher Puner, and with me this week I'm joined by an Alex Henderson.
Hello.
Nick the King Cooper.
Hello.
Ed and Aiden Frost Rockarts.
That's me.
What's up, boys? How you guys doing? How you feeling? It's only been a couple of
Great.
days. It's only been a couple of days since 188, which we did live at the meetup this year.
Wee.
Which was a good ass time.
I'm getting
You
sick
don't.
of you guys.
Sorry. Oh, my bad. Yeah, Frost and I also recorded a show like an hour and a half ago for the Hearth too. So like he's got nothing but Chris time these past like 6 or 7 days. It's been great.
Yeah, we've
for
been
him.
pumping shows out like no fucking other lately.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, Meetup will do that when we do live shows at the thing. So speaking of stuff we did recently, Nick Cooper,
Hey.
why don't you tell me a little bit about your weekend by week? I mean, this past like 2 days.
Boy, actually, I have something to talk about because I've been playing ranked, and I tried to get back to Plat 1 after starting there and then failing, but I've been losing every single promo series. I went 1-1 in my Plat 2 promo series, and then I got into Game 3 pretty excited. And then just lost super hard.
Ooh,
it
woof.
wasn't close. It was very, very disappointing. But I just did a couple games today. I played Jungle Gragas for the first time and carried super duper hard. So I'm back in my series to get into Plat 1.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's soft.
How about you,
All right.
Frost?
Yeah, what about you, Frost? Speaking of soft.
So I thought my week was gonna be super exciting because I theory crafted. I'm like, hey, Gangplank has these barrels, right? He has these barrels that have like a health thing, and they can't be reduced below 1 health by teammates. I'm like, so this is like what I was doing on the way back home from the meetup. I'm like, I'm gonna try this as soon as Gangplank is enabled. I'm gonna abuse this, and I'm gonna play Gangplank Draven bot lane.
Okay.
Because you can juggle axes off of your barrels infinitely. Turns out it doesn't do that, because they have to be in range of an enemy before you can actually auto them as a teammate. So, that kind of blew, but I mean, I just played a normal with that, and then I went like 24-10, even though I didn't get the crazy barrel thing. But imagine if that was a thing, I would have had the best week. I'd have been like, yeah, man, I had 300 adoration before the game started.
Yeah.
Like, just juggling for 3 minutes before the game started, that would have been crazy.
That'd be pretty cool, yeah. If that was
Yeah.
actually the case.
But I mean, I haven't played any real League. I've played like a ranked game or two. I mean, they weren't really super important, but I played a fair bit of Black Market Brawlers. I'm not sure if you guys
That's
have
a
played a lot.
ton of fun.
Well,
Yeah.
I've been like trying not to play that game mode.
The most
I don't
terrifying
know.
thing I have ever seen in any League of Legends game ever, this like even outstrips Lollipoppy in my head, is 10 Razor Fins fully upgraded with Baron
Yeah,
buff,
holy
all
shit.
aggroed onto you. They can literally murder you faster than a 10-0 Zed. And it's just, oh, good God, you can't even get away. You can't kill them. You can't run away fast enough. It's just all of a sudden, oh, look, there goes 400. Oh, look, there goes 800. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, like that game mode's kind of fun. I mean, I think I'm currently 8-0 on it. I'm not sure
Okay.
if people are just bad who are playing it because it's like a general population.
Probably. That's
Normal
a
game?
safe bet.
But like, there's games though, Chris, where it's like I'm not playing very well. Like had this one game I was playing Gnar. I had a lot of packet loss. I went 0-7 in lane.
Okay.
And then I just was playing better than the enemy team, so I hit like 4-man Gnar ults over and over. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm winning all these games, but I am. But yeah, the only thing I don't like about that game mode is the brawler part. Choosing between Razorfin, the turtle thing, all those crazy things. They really don't seem to have much of an effect in the game. The only
Right.
time that they ever have an effect, a big effect, is like Henderson mentioned, when you build
Baron,
when everyone.
yeah.
If you go all Razorfin, or like you have to go, if you're going Razorfin, you have to go all or nothing. Like, I mean, that is the only time that I'm like, oh, they're not like a normal minion.
Mhm.
Whereas like, because they kind of negate each other. The enemy team's also going to have Krakens, therefore they're also going to have these minions. So I mean, it kind of just seems like, oh, you're playing with stronger minions, but unless you go 10 Razor Fins, it doesn't really seem like you have an advantage over them. But the new items, have you seen the new items in that map? Like
Flesh
some of them
eater,
are,
dude. Flesh
Some of them are a
eater.
lot of fun, and others are broken beyond all belief.
Yeah, I went Flesh Eater Aatrox. I got plus 80 on it by the end of the game, and I had like 2.0 attack speed, and it's crazy. That item for a 2k gold item would give me a bonus 80 on it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I went actually top lane Flesh Eater Nocturne, and just 90 stacks, and it was easy.
Yeah, like all the items are really cool. I kind of wish some of them were in the game though, like the throwable shield, like the ball shield that you can throw at your teammates is really cool.
Oh yeah,
There's the one utility item where you can transform into your to look like another teammate on your
That's
team
so
for 30
cool.
seconds until you auto. So a strategy I had with a couple of my friends I was playing with, we all transformed into what our AD carry looked like. I think it was Jinx. So we had 5 Jinxes on our team, and the enemy team didn't know who to hard engage on. So it's just really funny. It's like, oh, you hard engaged on our Blitzcrank. I'm sorry, and then our team just jumps on them.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that's a lot of fun. I kind of wish those were in the game. Would be a little bit more fun, but I'm sure they're really, really hard to balance. Like as we mentioned, Flesh Eater seems really, really strong for the amount of gold that you put into it.
I think Trickster's Glass is the most fun I've ever had with an item in, well, ever.
It's so
Since
good.
DFG.
I think even more fun than DFG. Like, I think this is
Wow.
another tier. Because, I mean, where else can you possibly get 5 bot new-news? Or new bots
Nunu
sitting
bots.
in base laughing for 15 minutes before the game finally ends.
That's pretty great.
Ha 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 ha.
That's pretty.
ha, ha.
That's pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's my week. Other than like playing a lot of Black Market Brawlers, I haven't played too much League.
Ranked?
I've been busy, of course, with the meetup and stuff.
You didn't play any ranked or anything?
I played 2 games, and I think I won 1 and lost 1. They're just kind of
Okay,
regular
yeah.
games.
No effect. But yeah, I know. I think the common case amongst us. The only I feel like Nick surprisingly had more to talk about than I thought he was going to. But I thought we were all just going to be like, no, meetup busy, recovery from meetup busy. But prove me wrong, Alex Henderson. Tell me about your exciting past couple of days in the ranked biz. Are you bronze yet?
So, yeah, basically. So what ended up happening is when we last left our hero, I lost another 4 ranked games after getting demoted and made it down to 20 LP in Silver 1, and then proceeded to win the next 9 ranked games in a row, and I'm back in Gold 5 now!
Mm-hmm.
You're
Ooh, the
stuck in
dream.
Silver by yourself again, nerd.
Well, have a good time.
Yep.
I'll see you soon.
Do you think that refreshed your whole ranked mentality? Do you think you're going to be able to climb in gold now, or no?
We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure, like, the reason I wasn't climbing gold is I was playing, like, 1 or 2 games a week. You know, not very much, just enough to maintain it. And I mean, for now, I'm on that stint. I don't really have anything else to play. I'm kind of burnt myself out on Civilizations for a few days, and it's one of those things where I'll probably dig back into it again. Like, my win rate right now in ranked is actually 65%. I've won
wow.
13 of my past 7 games.
That ain't bad.
Sorry, 13 of my past 20 games. Not
Okay.
terrible. My overall win rate's still 46%, but another 13 games will fix that. See you in Plat, gents.
You probably
Oh,
won't
fuck
see me at all. So you'd see these two, but not me.
I haven't lost a game in ranked in a week.
I haven't
to this.
played a game in ranked in 3 weeks. So
And it was on Caitlyn, and that was the game that I played where I had trouble convincing my support Zareth to buy a support item.
Oh boy.
It was one of those things where it was probably a salvageable situation, but he just told me, no, I won't buy a support item because then I won't get the start that I want, and I just fucking lost it. I could not control the rage, and I just went off on him for the next 20 minutes while we slowly proceeded to get bled out and lose.
Yep. Sounds like every game of League.
So you're going to be track restricted soon, right?
Probably.
All right. So anything else, dude?
Nick was right. Jungle Runeglaive Elise is OP as fuck.
Yeah. It's
So here's-
happening, boys.
My past 3 games with her are 6-1-4, 28-10-4.
What the
and
fuck? Did you play that
13-6
game
and
for a
11.
week or something? Like
It made it about 40 minutes in, and I think I had all but like 3 of the kills on my team. Like, I can pull it up right here on op.gg. It was ridiculous. I was basically pentakilling them every single fucking team fight.
That's nuts.
I've
Can we-
actually
can-
only gotten to play her 1 ranked game so far. It's been banned every other game.
Henderson,
They've started banning her as I get higher, so that's something noticeable. What's up, Frost?
can we reenact the conversation we had when I'm like, hey, Henderson, why the hell did you build poachers on Elise? That sounds like the worst jungle item ever.
Because I was
His
playing
response-
against Jungle Vayne.
Okay. All right. I was gonna make fun of you, and then you said Jungle Vein, and now I think you're a genius.
I know, that's what I went from like being like, what the hell are you doing to wow, that's the best choice.
I think she got 2 camps in the first 10 minutes of that game.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Dirty.
All right.
They didn't even, I don't know, man. Like, some of these things just don't even make it difficult. It's just like, okay, I will happily take advantage of this obvious flaw in your plan.
So anyway, that's gonna be it for your week, right?
Yeah.
And by week I mean past 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
Cool. Well, congratulations on digging yourself out of silver. Maybe you should write a book that I can read about how to do that. So for myself, I haven't played anything. I the only thing I've been playing is here and there. I've been putting some time into Rocket League, which has been just owning my life.
Ooh, I need to pick that up. That sounds like a lot.
Are you
of
diamond
fun.
yet?
In Rocket League? No, I'm still bronze.
Okay.
But you can't. There is ranked in that game. For those of you that don't know, Rocket League is like soccer with cars. It's really great. It sounds stupid, but it's really, really great. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of exciting shit that's going on around League right now, and I wanted to get a game in before we were recording today, or the past couple of days. But putting shows up and things out after the meetup kind of took up my time.
And you played Rocket League.
And I played, I think probably altogether like 3 hours of Rocket League. I probably could have put in a little bit of time. I don't know how much time I've actually spent on Rocket League. I'm kind of afraid to look because then there goes my entire argument about how I didn't play League. I mean, let's take a look really quick.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to pull it up. Rocket League, 4.5 hours. Oh,
4 hours. That's not so bad. That's not so bad at all. Yeah,
I only
dude.
have 5 hours logged on Steam this past week.
I have, yeah, that's okay. Well, because I do other things in my life.
Fuck, crazy.
But okay, yeah, that's pretty much all I did. I didn't play any League. I read a lot about League, but I didn't play any. No, I'll probably play a game tonight sometime, but we'll see if Rocket League doesn't steal me away again.
I've read a lot about League this week too, Chris. It's crazy.
Speaking of reading a lot about League this week, let's move into which is probably going to be like the goddamn meat and potatoes of this episode. There was so many pieces of news, important pieces of news that came out this week. So much that that were so exciting that everybody involved with the show was texting me on their own accord about, holy fuck, did you see this thing? We're going to have a great time this week talking about it.
And it's like in 4 days. So you know what that means? We're going to be fucked on news for the next 3 weeks, Chris.
It's gonna be great. Let's ride out this content train right now while we can. And we're just gonna kind of, instead of splitting like the news section up like we normally do, like each of us take up a different topic, these things are so big and so interesting that we're just gonna kind of group discuss all these topics one at a time as we move through them. So buckle up because a lot of changes are coming. So let's move into which part do we patch? Patch?
Oh God! Do I have to pull up the patch notes?
I mean, like if you just think of the patch in general, it's a lot of needed nerfs and needed buffs. Like champions like Nidalee got nerfed, and the real big change was
small.
Teemo. I think we should talk about Teemo. Like it was a pretty small patch.
We'll do that last because that's probably the biggest thing that happened in here. But there's like a bunch of small things that are at least worth mentioning. Gangplank is back. He's back from the dead, but they're changing his default skin to his like mutilated form where he's missing an arm, different voiceover. So everybody will start with that skin, and if you play the game during the Bilgewater event, you will get the other Gangplank skin for free. Well, yeah, just for free. Echo got nerfed early levels, same at later levels if I remember.
Got better scaling.
Yeah, so they had his bases nerfed up to scaling. Nidalee got nerfed, don't really care about that. Sever's ult got nerfed. Zeke's Harbinger had the stack charge rate downed. They did a bunch of touch-up stuff on the HUD. I don't really notice a difference. I think it looks fine, though.
It's way better.
Yeah, I really like that the scoreboard is back at the top right.
But, the one thing that I'm really happy about is the mute buttons on the champions screen when you hold tab again.
It's easier to see. It was kind of hidden before. But like my first complaint when my first game of the new HUD was, wow, that's a lot of space for the minimap without having much minimap there. So I mean, now the minimap is literally the size of the minimap instead of having all those other stats on the side, which kind of just took up a bunch of space, which I think is way better.
I like where they are now better too, because that's where they used to be, and it feels better. Instant feedback got reworked a little bit, like Light's punishment system. Light smite better. The champion master emotes are actually visible to the enemy team, and it's a lot of fun taunting somebody who you're about to murder with that thing.
I played a rank game earlier, and I look bottom for a second. I'm jungling. I look bottom for like a split second, and I see both AD carries and supports just spamming their emotes whenever they're off cooldown. And I'm like, this is what the game has come to.
I was playing against a LeBlanc, and I would just sit there and spam that emote, and then she would try to attack me. I'd do half of her health and move out of the way. You know, it was just fantastic to bait 'em. But anyway, that's tons of fun. It's really, really stupid. Ward skin selection's actually in Champion Select now. Fantastic. The terror known as Cottontail Fizz is going to go live soon. Upcoming chroma packs, one for Cassiopeia, one for Dragon Slayer Vayne, one for Koi Nami. The Koi Nami and the Cassiopeia ones look very... Well, Nami's one is better, but those two chromas look pretty good. Vayne's is not bad, but it's nothing special. It just doesn't have the same feel of impact to me.
On the patch notes video, on the patch notes podcast, we were talking about how we think that they did the chroma for Vayne just because they wanted to put Dragon Slayer Vayne in like line with the other colors or aesthetics of the other Dragon Slayer skins. So I mean,
yeah,
that'd be my only reason why they would do one for her. I mean,
oh yeah, Fiora's update is live. I haven't played against her or with her.
She's disabled.
She is disabled.
Oh, is she disabled right now?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll talk
shit.
about that later.
Okay, works for me. Oh, wait, is Frost Queen Claim also disabled? Yeah,
What it says.
it's also disabled. Shit, okay, I didn't even realize
For
that
a
until now.
similar reason or a separate reason?
I really hope that they coincide. When you pick Fiora, you go Frost Queen.
Then you just like, win the game or something
You
like
blow
that.
up,
That'd be
yeah,
hilarious.
unintentional AP scaling with.
Well, I know Fiora's bug, like I remember reading something about this earlier now, had something to do with permanently
let's
crashing
not-
the game and you couldn't reconnect to it for the duration.
Let's not steal
Whatever.
Nick's thunder.
Whatever, not important. Teemo. So, these are the biggest changes. All of them are terrifying. I still hate Teemo. God, Riot. Why? So, his passive. The attack speed bonus now scales from 20% to 80% instead of being flat 40 at all level, because, when he unstealthed, he get attack speed bonus. The stealth timer is now 1.5 seconds. Teemo now stealths twice as fast while in brush. Okay. Moving inside brush while camouflaged no longer breaks stealth.
What?
Oh, God, Riot.
What?
Why?
So a Teemo bush, he can
Why?
move the length of the bush as long as he doesn't leave. He's still.
Yep.
That's fucking stupid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my
Still
god.
invisible. Fuck you, I'm Teemo. Better part
Alright.
yet, Noxious Trap. Duration 5 minutes. That's a nerf. I can live with that. Slow now decays over 4 seconds. That's a nerf. I can live with that. The cast range was upped at every level significantly. It used to be flat 200. Now it starts at 300 and scales up to 900. The arm time is now 1.5 seconds before they detonate. And then casting traps on existing Noxus traps causes them to bounce 3, 4, 5 Teemos further in the direction they were originally tossed.
3, 4, 5
Mushrooms now
Teemos.
die to 3 basic attacks from ranged champions.
Which is a huge buff. It's a massive buff. The health of the shrooms.
To
Kill
Teemo,
me.
right?
Yeah, to Teemo.
Kill me.
It's a buff to the rest of the
Please.
game.
I wish it was a buff to the rest of the game.
No, but
Surprise! Teemo shrooms are now Ziggs Q.
there's been 2 posts on r/League of Legends, one from the number 1 Teemo in the world on null scale, and another one from a Teemo main and challenger, and they both hate the changes. They say that they're huge nerfs. Like the cast time nerf is massive, apparently. The range thing's a huge buff. The passive thing, they both think is irrelevant, like being able to stay in bushes. But like, do you see Freak had a good response to it, saying like the passive thing. It's like Teemo originally had a trash passive, like one of the worst passives in the game, but now it's kind of like you can use it if you play him a different style. So like Freak's response is pretty well saying you have to relearn how to play the champion. Don't look at him as like the old Teemo. Look at him as a new champion. You have to play a different role now than you used to.
I've always preferred like on hit split pushing Teemo instead of AP anyway.
Yep, I agree.
Thank God, because AP Teemo just like it makes me want to hurt myself because it's like, oh hey, look, there goes half of your health because you accidentally walked over a mushroom and you don't have Banshee's Veil. Now
Yeah,
you either
pretty
get
much.
to go back or die to the next mushroom you walk
If
over.
you have Banshee's Veil, he's just gonna stack like 2 or 3 of them in the same spot, so it doesn't matter.
I
Yeah.
think we're
it's
gonna have to. I think we're all
painful.
gonna have to play a couple games this week and get back to us because I'm really not sure how the changes are gonna affect the play. Really,
Yeah, I'd love to do some hands-on work with the new Teemo. Sounds awesome. And then when Fiora becomes disabled or re-enabled, there we go.
Fiora still looks like a lot of fun.
Once Gangplank is not dead, that's
he'll
the
be
deal.
re-dead. The
He'll be
Halloween event will
re-deaded.
be Gangplank the
We'll
re-dead
re-dead
name.
him. Okay, cool.
Oh god. Okay, so that's everything for patch 5.15. What the
And
fuck do we
that's
want to
just
talk about next?
The tip of the iceberg,
Right?
the
Yeah.
amount of shit. I want to really talk about. I want to talk about the Juggernaut stuff.
Okay.
Ooh.
Do you want me to lead discussion there, or do you want
Oh,
to talk about
please. No, I don't want to talk about it. I don't know
Okay,
what the fuck
fuck.
I'm
Now I gotta go
talking
look
about.
that up
You can-
too.
you can
God
let
I have
damn
them
it,
Frost.
all.
Chris.
Yeah,
I have them
Frost
literally
is-
all laid out right there.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you'd
why don't you
like.
talk about it then? Because
Okay.
I don't really know shit about any of these champions.
Oh, hey, look at these handy dandy notes. Oh,
They're
Yeah,
wow.
shitting
wow.
on every single Juggernaut.
We'll do one champion at a time. I think that's probably the best way
Darius
to
looks
do
like he's going to
discussion.
be retardedly strong.
All right,
Yeah,
except for
so-
Darius.
Pretty well, the change to Darius is now when he gets 5 stacks of hemorrhage, which is his passive, or he ults an enemy champion. For the next couple of seconds, I believe it's 5. I want to say what they had to list as like the current timer.
Yeah.
His auto attacks apply 5 stacks of hemorrhage immediately to enemy champions.
So that's the entire
All 5
stack
of them, yeah.
damage. Like
Yeah.
the entire dot is dealt all at once as burst instead of.
Yep.
I
Holy
suppose.
No,
oh,
not as
wait,
burst.
could you-
It just
No,
No,
yeah, he
yeah.
just automatically
X's
applies
stacks.
5 stacks instead of just 1.
So it's the max bleed, max amplification to his ult, stuff like that. So he goes into Blood Rage, and then every single one of his next autos applies all 5 stacks. So you can,
Okay.
let's just say you get 5 stacks on a Caitlyn, and then you go around the entire team and just auto every single person and put 5 stacks on all of them.
All right. So here's a couple of situations. Just help me out here. All right. I'm in lane. I'm laning. Right. I'm a Darius and against a Renekton. We're in season 3, and like I'm autoing the cannon minion, and for some reason I got 5 stacks on that
I
cannon
think it has to
minion.
be a hero.
Has to
Does
be an
it
enemy.
has to be a champion? Okay, that
Yes.
was my first question. So second question. I'm laning as Darius mid lane because I'm an idiot in any season. It doesn't matter. But I'm going against a season 1 duo lane, right, in the mid, which didn't happen. And let's just say it's 280 carries. It's an Ashe and a Vayne. And because I can't catch the Vayne, and because this Ashe just got out of the tutorial, I'm able to get 5 stacks on this Vayne. I mean this Ashe. So now, does that put me in a Blood Rage? And then if I auto the Vayne once, she also has 5 stacks?
Yep.
Yes.
correct.
Okay, so if I'm not in a Blood Rage and I ult somebody, that just does 1 stack.
Correct.
Yeah,
Well,
it does the
Does it
does
apply one stack?
no
if you ult someone?
amplification.
No, it
Just
doesn't
no
apply a stack.
amplification.
Okay.
Yeah, so
But,
his
like-
ult doesn't apply stacks, but it uses them for that damage amp.
So if I ult somebody, it'll put me in a Blood Rage, and then I can auto them.
I
and
think
then
you
put
have to
5
kill
stacks
them
on?
to get the blood rage from an ult.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Come
Or
on,
ults an
where is
enemy
it?
for the next couple of seconds. When he gets 5 stacks of hemorrhage or an enemy on an enemy or ults an enemy for the next couple of seconds. This is the summary reading of that from Frost.
The way
though,
they
so maybe I
describe it in
shouldn't.
the picture, they only show like him doing the auto thing in the video of it. So I mean,
Yeah, I see that.
We'll find out.
and the only nerf to Darius, like
It says when he
mostly-
executes an enemy with Noxian Guillotine.
Yeah, okay.
Execute generally implies a very dead champion.
Yeah.
So
Upon executing an enemy champion, all nearby lesser creatures become terrified for a few seconds.
yeah, they also all the like
What
minions get feared
the
away. That's kind of
What
it's cool.
the
Like,
fuck? That's a cool effect. That's
And-
really
and-
cool.
the only nerf to him, like the other champions have some severe nerfs to them, but the only nerf to him is his Q has a 0.075, sorry, 0.75 second wind up rather than instant cast, which I think is a huge nerf for laning.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll be a big deal. I think he got big enough buffs too, is like mid game. So
That's really cool. I like these changes.
he's gonna be really fucking strong after this. Isn't there 2 new items that are coming with this as well? They're both
yeah,
really
we'll get to
strong.
those too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So much news. The next champion though is Garen. So the new change to Garen is the fact that there will be an enemy villain. Villain being, I'm assuming, the person who's doing the best on the enemy team.
Yeah,
it's down to
it said the enemy champion with the most kills.
okay.
Does
So
it say
it
the
can change-
most?
It can change throughout the game though. Okay, so like there's a villain on the enemy team, and Garen's ult now does true damage to them. When he
Okay.
ults them. That's the change, but everything else on Garen's kick.
He also deals an additional 1% of their maximum health as true damage.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
his ult pretty well does true damage.
Oh, sorry. Judgment ticks and basic attacks. Isn't Judgment his spin to win?
Okay,
Is that
so
his
all of his
ultimate?
abilities do it. I thought it was only his ult.
Well, hold on. It says Judgment ticks and basic attacks. Judgment is his spin to win, right?
Yes.
Okay, so a tick on his spin to win and an auto attack will deal 1% of their max health as true damage.
Okay. So whoever the villain is in the enemy team, Garen.
Yeah, and then
can
it's true
counter
damage instead of
them?
magic damage if it's the villain. Okay, that makes
Garen
sense.
does well against them all the time now. Is that just it? He does more damage.
So he just runs at the carry and then tries.
It
to
says
fuck
the
them.
most recent kills. I think it might be the person who got the most recent kill. as
Okay,
the
I like
villain.
that. I like that more, to be honest.
I don't think it's
like
the
that.
most. I think it's that.
Okay, that would make sense. They did say what they mentioned in the initial thing was like it's going to change throughout the game, but that does make sense. So I
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. That fits him thematically too, which is really, really great. I like
The
when
only
they do
problem
shit
is-
like that.
They nerfed every other skill. Like they nerfed his W, his like damage reduction. They made that so it scales with armor and magic system, correct? Nick, do you know how the Garen nerfs are affecting him?
Yeah, they're.
I only
they're
know the
taking-
judgment.
Yeah, so the judgment is E, right?
Yes.
All right, so his Q is only slowing or only silencing by 1.5 seconds instead of 2.5. And then I do believe they're taking away the tenacity, the damage reduction. And do you guys remember the old Garen passive where you kind of had to farm to get the armor and MR?
Yep.
I'm pretty
pro-
sure
yeah.
they're bringing that back.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then for judgment, he is slowed by 20% when he's in judgment. Which I think is
Yeah.
kind of ridiculous. Like now
It's
you,
the dumbest nerf.
judgment seems like the type of ability that you'd be faster when you use.
Yeah.
To me at least. But oh well, I mean, so he's kind of getting nerfed for like a very niche ultimate change, which I don't think the nerfs are needed. I think Garen wasn't in a good spot before. It's not like changing this would have made him an OP champion. It literally changes his impact on one champion in the game at a current time. I don't know. It seems like a weird change just to nerf him, but I guess they don't want to overbuff him, but that's what the PvE is for, so I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways, on to... I'm going to go to Mordekaiser last, because I think he's kind of the most interesting one to talk about. We'll go to Skarner next, though. So, Dominion's been brought to the Summoner's Rift pretty well. There's 6 spires on the Summoner's Rift, right above red buff, right below blue buff, on both sides, and then at Dragon and Baron, if I'm correct. So these spires, Skarner or the enemy, anyone on the enemy team can capture. When they are captured, they grant vision in an area and give a speed boost to Skarner. So pretty well, there's like a little metagame around controlling your spires for movement speed buff or vision. You get a tiny bit of gold when the enemy gets a tiny bit of gold when they like get rid of when they recapture your spire.
Does this mechanic only happen if Skarner's in a game?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's
It-
weird.
Yeah, I don't know. From what I've seen of this, I'm not.
See,
Doesn't feel good.
That sounds like I'm like, oh, that's kind of an interesting change. It makes the game very unique when Skarner's picked, right? But the problem is, so yeah, he gets the speed boost when he's in that area. But the problem is, they took the speed boost off of his W to compensate. They're like, so now he's completely limited to having this speed boost, which is what he uses to catch up and stun the enemies or catch them with his ultimate. Like that's completely removed, and I don't like. Maybe he's just supposed to be like a jungle control champion. You can't get if they pick someone who's supposed to counter jungle, do you just pick Skarner? Like, I'm not sure what the intention with this. They even removed some skill from his kit. Originally, when you hit your E on an enemy champion, he does more damage with his ultimate. But now they removed that, so now his ultimate's just like flat damage. So I mean, they're removing his skill from the champion.
And then they nerfed the damage that his ultimate did, as if it you know did too much anyway.
Like, I don't understand the nerfs though. Like, I'm glad they're bringing a new unique mechanic to a champion. I think that's really cool. Like, oh shit, they picked Skarner. Now we have to manage these spires that he's going to constantly have. But, oh, no one's going to pick Skarner now because he's terrible. I don't know. It just seems really weird it seems really counterintuitive to, like, give him this speed shrine, but in compensation remove his speed buff because you should have these, which is kind of weird.
I don't know. I feel like maybe we're just not seeing the potential.
I think we have to wait to see for sure, but I just think it's weird that you immediately nerf a champion where you're supposed to add uniqueness to them.
Sure. I can agree.
And then our last change. And oh my god. So they pretty well decided that Mordekaiser, he's no longer a solo laner, Chris. He is a duo laner. He takes the spot of an AD carry in a lane. So you kind of play like
hello
double
to
support.
your new overlord.
You play double support because like in his recommended builds on PvE right now, he has Targons as his item. So you're supposed to play double support bot lane with Mordekaiser because his new W passive, if I'm correct, grants him 100% of the XP in lane, even when he's in a duo lane.
Correct.
What?
So no matter what, he hits 6 before the enemy laners, but he only gets the bonus when he's in a lane with a teammate.
Yep.
So-
So it was going to be a lot of fun using that run to them passive on his what E? What is his E
His
or the
W.
W? The W.
The E's
Use
the
the
cone.
run to them passive. So go ahead and throw that little dot onto Leona. and then run towards her after she hooks someone, and then proceed to beat the piss out of them.
In before people are going to be queuing up in Team Builder as Mordekaiser jungle, and they're just not jungling.
But they have a lot of
Just walking
They have
to
a lot
top,
of-
I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? I'm gonna hang out up here. Is that cool?
There's a lot of interesting changes though, like his Q, which used to be the on damage kind of, it wasn't a cone, but like it applied to nearby minions when you queued. That's being changed, so it gives you I guess it's kind of like an on hit. So your next 3 autos are empowered. They give you ×1, ×2, ×3 bonus damage, but that scales up to 259, I believe. So pretty well your third auto at max rank, it's going to do 900% of like the first auto damage, which sounds ridiculous to me. If it does 100 damage on that first auto, it's going to do 900 on the third one.
Do you know if it applies on hit effects?
I don't believe it does. That sounds like I'm pretty sure. Well, at least it's not mentioned that it applies on hit effects.
It'd be interesting to see if it could crit a 900% damage crit. Oh my god.
Yeah. So like, and then I guess there's one more change, which is kind of interesting. It's the change that Mordekaiser's ult has a new passive that when he kills a dragon, when he does any damage to dragon, then it dies. Your team kills it. He gets a dragon soul. This dragon ghost follows him around the map for a certain amount of time and acts as his minion.
Yeah, it's a huge like dragon too. It's not a tiny little thing. It's the size of dragon.
They're making these champions unique. That's cool. But they're going to have to up the quality of some of these other champions that they're also reworking then, because they seem lackluster in comparison. Like, map-wide changes with Skarner, even if it's stupid, is so unique and so impactful that, like, it seems out of place. And Mordekaiser to get a dragon soul? That's, like, a little too cool, you know?
But I don't know. All right, so what do you guys think is the best rework Riot's ever done?
Ever?
Yeah.
Ashe.
I'm going to go ahead and say Scion.
Yes, Scion is 100% right.
Scion isn't bad, but nobody's playing Scion.
No one's playing him now because he's not meta, but when he first came out, he was picked every single game.
That's true. But I think like a really well balanced one. I think the stuff they did with Ashe was really great because they made her feel completely different, but they didn't change her that much.
Yeah, I don't know, but these reworks seem bad. I don't like them at all.
I think that
Darius
one is in the right direction.
Donger.
But even some of the things like his ultimate fears nearby minions, like that just seems like something that's not
actually a functional change.
Exactly. Like the focus should be more on functionality rather than that's so cool.
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know, it just seems weird. Like I hope that a lot of the reworks go well. I don't see Skarner's or Garen's going well. I think Mordekaiser's is very I don't think he's never going to be played competitive unless he's overpowered with this change. He's not going to be played competitive.
Right, the only way he's going to get picked in place of an AD carry is if he does more damage because he's melee.
Yeah,
and then he is just broken.
I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything for Mordekaiser because I think he is the most unique champion. Oh, his new W. Sorry, I missed that. So it's called the Harvest of Sorrow. Mordekaiser and his target ally gain 75 movement speed when moving towards each other. When close to one another, they both deal bonus magic damage. So it's pretty well like you have to duo lane with someone or else you're not getting the full utility out of your kit.
That's weird. It's weird that they like subscribe him to that play style. That's just really strange. That seems like they're kind of like heavy-handing him into where they want him to be.
It's a good thing Riot isn't enforcing champion in the roles and the meta and things like that, especially with the Skarner jungle shrines, or Mordekaiser's passive, his ability that is useless in a solo lane. I don't know.
I don't like that stuff.
Can I also mention that the one other change to his ultimate is the duration of the ghost of the enemy champion that you get. So originally, do you guys know how long the original Mordekaiser ghost lasts?
30 seconds,
30
right?
seconds,
You were correct. Now it scales, Nick. It starts out at 45, then goes to 60, then goes to 75 seconds.
Jesus.
It's just
a long time.
I guess his role is to not be shit, then get a ghost of their AD carry, so you actually have a real AD carry. So. Is that the goal? I don't know. Whatever. I think it's one of those things that you have to kind of wait to see, wait to try, wait to see how it turns out on PvE.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, so that pretty much sums up the Juggernaut changes, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. I hate to just keep moving on. We could probably talk about this for a lot longer, especially about the design choices.
I mean, it will come back up in a couple weeks. So.
No, it definitely will, especially after we get to play some of it, too. we'll definitely come back. But let's move on to other pieces of news. How about these 2 new items?
Yeah. Does anyone know more than me? I know kind of a basis, but if neither of you guys know more, then I'll go through them
I know
really quick.
nothing about them right now, and I'm still trying to find them on Surrender at 20.
Okay.
Here we go. Hang on.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah. All right. So 2 new items: Theric's Gauge, Giant's Belt Longsword, and 1,200 gold. 500 health plus 25% base attack damage. Unique passive upon taking at least 400 to 1,800 damage based on champion level within 5 seconds. Gain Primal Rage for 8 seconds, which is you grow in size and strength, gaining increased size, 25 additional base attack damage, and a rapidly decaying shield for 30% of your maximum health. And then Titanic Hydra, which is Tiamat plus Ruby Crystal plus 1,000 gold. So a different build path from Hydra. Unique passive basic attacks deal 20 plus 1% of your maximum health as bonus physical damage on hit. Unique passive Cleave basic attacks deal 40 plus 2.5% of your maximum health as physical damage in a cone on the target. This target does not take damage. And then the unique active Crescent, your next basic attack deals physical damage equal to 20 plus 10% of your maximum health in a larger cone on hit. 20% cooldown. Cleave does not apply to this attack. So basically, hey, tanks and also bruisers are going to be very, 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 very overpowered. Again,
I think it's bigger to bruisers than tanks, though. I mean, like I could see a Gnar building the gauge item, the upon taking 400, 800, 1800. Sorry, you know what I mean. Beyond taking that damage, you could see a Gnar though. He like runs in. Like I've seen this happen before in like grind games. You have your like bruiser run in, they take a ton of damage and they have to back out. But now they run in, they get this primal rage, which makes them bigger, makes them have more AD. I mean, yeah, more AD, and gives them a shield, which allows them to actually get into the fight and do what they want to do to set your team up. Which I mean, I think it's a great bruiser item. It might be a little bit strong, but like it sounds like exactly what a bruiser needs.
I actually think it's going to be core in every single AD carry build as a defensive item. Why would you not want a 30% of your max health shield that spawns in like without you even having to do anything, 50% additional base attack damage when it procs, and then 500 bonus health. Like it just sounds so strong as a defensive item for an AD carry who isn't going to be focused very heavily.
That's like a 600 health shield if you have 2,000 health.
Yeah,
that sounds
exactly.
really, really strong. Yeah, that's kind of maybe you're right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone mention it, but it's a lot. Like unfortunately you have to take 1,800 damage to start with, but it could just give you exactly what you need to survive the low health 1v1 or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Hydra, that just sounds really, really cool. Like finally an item for Shen or Scion to be able to do damage. I am a little bit worried about how it's gonna be played on like Nasus or Renekton.
Yeah,
because that's gonna be absolutely terrifying.
Ooh, it'll bring Renekton back. That'd be awesome.
I think Renekton's already really, really strong with the new Black Cleaver.
I like your Shen mentioning Shen there. It kind of like I think the one thing Shen lacks, in my opinion, like Shen is a split pusher, but he doesn't really have wave clear. You know what I mean? Imagine a Shen that can now split push with this item. Like that's crazy. He can
exactly.
He's actually to be feared when he's split pushing.
I shaking my boots in how prevalent Shen's gonna be after this item comes out.
Fun.
Yeah, he's already gonna be a god tier unkillable tank, and then with Titanic Hydra, he's gonna do a percent of his maximum health in physical damage to you. So scary.
Okay. Speaking of item changes, they did some changes to defense items they're going to in 5.16, right? Is that how far ahead they're looking at these things?
Yes,
yeah.
5.16.
And it looks to me just on just a cursory look, as I didn't even know that these were happening.
There's a TLDR, by the way.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, but we've often talked on the show about how difficult it was to build anti-AP. Because it was kind of expensive, and there were a lot of really good armor items for tanks to make like AD carries seem less fun. Nick would always talk about this all the time. And so the big thing that they're doing now is, I'm just going to read the TLDR. Armor items are generally more expensive or grant less armor. Health items readjusted. Magic resistance is generally cheaper and easy to build. We'll be looking at specific support or low income champions that might be hurt from an armor perspective. So just in general, it looks like a lot of the costs on magic resistant items is reduced, or in cases that the cost wasn't reduced, they upped the magic resistance on there. Negatron Cloak, like as an example, the cost went from 850 down to 800, and so now they're saying the note here is rescaled the cost of MR to be roughly 90% of armor, which is chill. I'm on board with this. I feel like nerfing people that use AP is not the way to. AP is not the way to go. I think upping the defensive game for AP resistance items or MR is the way to go for sure. In like trying to balance this out, you know. That's just my opinion, at least.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, I would have liked to see another MR item added, but because there's so many options when it comes to armor, but there's 2 options when it comes to, MR, and that's it, pretty much.
Right.
I think there's 2 major. Well, yeah, there's 3 major item changes that I kind of want to highlight before we move on, though. The first being the change to Randuin's Omen. The main thing being the fact that, well, first of all, it reduces critical damage by 10%, which I think is a very large thing.
And
first of
fun
all,
fact, if you are playing against an Ashe after this Randuin's Omen comes out, 100% you should build it every single game.
Because when Ashe goes into her, what do you want to call it? I don't even know what it's called. Her focus.
Even just her second auto attack is a crit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, you are correct. Yeah, so you'll always reduce that by 10%, which kind of seems pretty strong. But the main thing I wanted to highlight about that was the fact that the slow active no longer scales off of 0.5 and 0.5 armor and 0.5% of your magic resist and armor. So I mean, this item, no matter what, is now better on support because you're not going to build as much magic and armor as you would on a tank. Mm-hmm. So I mean, if you're playing something like Janna now, Janna or Thresh or someone like that would be a great champion to build Randuin's on, because you, no matter what, get that 4 second slow rather than having to play like Rammus and have like 400 armor to get like 6 seconds slow or a 4 second slow.
Right.
So I think it's a huge buff to building it on, like, just, you could build on 80 carry and it would be better now.
Do you remember when Master Yi used to gain armor in MR?
600, yeah.
Yeah, you could, it was a lot. You could do that and then Randuin's, and it would be like a 10-second slow.
Yeah.
Oh, for real? I didn't even think about
it
that.
was
Holy
ridiculous.
Shit.
Now it's a flat. You just reduce the damage taken by a flat percentage, but it used to increase your armor in MR by a flat amount.
What if you're AFK the entire game and you get like that abilion that they give you when you sit in base?
Surprisingly, you can't use abilities when you're
as soon
AFK,
as you reconnect. You'll lose all that.
Really? Is it disconnected? I thought it was just AFK for a long period of time.
No, it's just a disconnect. Yeah.
Okay, well that sucks. Never mind. I was gonna think, could you imagine doing that?
The second
I could
item,
imagine AFKing in a ranked team.
Yeah, I do it all the time. The second item being Warmog's armor. So I think Warmog's has been an item that's been kind of weak over the last couple of patches, maybe even like the last year even. Sure. So now it grants 200 base regen instead of 0, which is a huge buff, first of all. And then its passive is changed so that you get Warmog's Heart if you have more than 3,000 health. Warmog's Heart, it restores 3% of your maximum life per second when you haven't taken damage in 8 seconds. So think of Garen's passive, but way stronger. And then you also get this 200 base regen on top of it. And the item hasn't changed cost. So I mean, those are both huge buffs, I think. Both of those are huge buffs.
Yeah.
Like, the problem with the item, it still like doesn't give any resist. But like if you just need tank, like to what were we just talking about? The new AoE, the new Ravenous Hydra item that we were just talking about. Like, if you just need health to proc that harder, then get Warmogs. Warmog seems really, really strong with these changes.
It seems like they're doubling up on this whole tanks no longer get blown up only by casters and AD carries get fucked sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now
I
it
think
seems
it's a good change.
like everybody kind of get fucked just a little bit. To the point where you're like, oh, well, they're a tank. Of course, I shouldn't be focusing them anyway. Because you kind of like, you go back and forth when you're playing AP. You're like, man, I don't really know who to focus if I get this dude, if I get anybody caught. If I catch anybody. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. But now you have to think twice. Kind of like AD carries have had to think twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then fail anyway in the past, like, year.
Yeah, so, Nick, have you seen the changes to Thornmail as the last item?
Yes.
Yeah. So, do you want to explain them? Because I really don't know the best way to put them into words. Because I think it's a huge thing.
Yeah, so, previous to this, if you dealt 100 damage to someone with Thornmail, you would take 33 damage back. as magic damage. But now you'll take 15 damage plus 25% of the target's bonus armor. So if they have 200 bonus armor, you'll take 15 plus 25% of the 200, which is what, 50? Yeah, 50. So you'll take a little bit better. You'll take more damage, but it's like more effective with health now.
Yeah, I mean, like it really doesn't just crap on AD. Also, it's kind of not bad against AP if you think about it, because it's still just damage rather than physical, like which was original, if I'm correct.
So Thornmail, it doesn't return just physical damage, just returns damage in general now?
No, I'm pretty
what
sure
you're saying?
I'm pretty sure it's still auto attacks that do it.
Okay.
Maybe you're correct. I thought I saw something about that, but
It doesn't. It only says damage in the notes, but it's under the armor, and they don't say anything about it reflecting it being a change from the live version.
The passive says instead of reflecting 30% of pre-mitigation damage, it instead reflects 15%. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it says of damage, but it does say like pre-mitigation damage, so it could be referring to the damage that the passive's specific text is referencing, and not just damage in general.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Let me rephrase. It's not. Riot hasn't said that it's reflecting back magic damage, so I'm going to assume that it's still auto attack damage.
I'm going to too, because otherwise that would be incredible for this item.
Huge change. Yeah,
it'd be disgusting. This item would be much more prevalent on every single tank ever.
Yeah.
So pretty well the change. They explain it fairly well. It pretty well says like you can't just pick it up like, oh, they have. Oh, I mean, their Tryndamere or their Ashe is doing very well. I'm just going to pick up Thornmail, and I'm just like a Janna, or I'm just like a mid laner or something like that. It really benefits when you play someone like Leona or Rammus, and you just want to stack armor no matter what.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of like benefits them. It's like, I'm not just building Thornmail because they have AD. I'm building Thornmail because not only does my champion benefit from it, but I'm actually want to use my item to the full potential. So the more armor you build, the more damage will do. And eventually it will outscale the original Thornmail.
Yeah.
We'll have to find that value eventually. Well, the math is probably there somewhere.
Well, what's 15 times 4? 60?
Wow, what the that sounds... That can't be right?
No.
Because that's almost base armor.
No, it says bonus armor.
Okay, bonus armor. Okay, that's... So
I think it'll be about the same if you have another core armor item, and then a little bit more if you have like Frozen Heart or, something like that.
Okay, that sounds like a good change. That's a healthy change, I think. Because it pretty well benefits AD carries. It's pretty well like, not everyone's going to build Thornmail against me, thank God.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Okay. Last piece of news is this post on this Riot Please blog, right?
Second last, I believe.
Second to last.
Yeah, okay. So, the community for League of Legends, they like to complain a whole lot. And some of these complaining sessions have evolved into shitstorms that have gotten so loud that, Riot has to actually come out and say something about it. And, okay, we need to calm down the peasants. So, they've decided to come up with a quarterly solution to this. They are now going to release, 4 times a year, they are going to release a blog called Riot Please. And this is supposed to be a status update on general, products, things they've said they were going to work on. Just new features in general, and this is supposed to be a general status update thing so that we have an idea of what's happening, and that we're not left in the dark for 3 fucking years before we find out that that replays have been delayed indefinitely. But anyway, so there's a ton of stuff in here right now, but the first thing to talk about is they complain about their tech debt a lot, and we've made this perfectly clear on the show a couple times before too. The reason Riot has a lot of issues with getting some of this stuff up to snuff and a lot of bugs and things is because this game was designed for 20,000 people tops, and there's currently 67 million players on it. It's fucking ridiculous at how big this game has gotten, and they are still working out all of the kinks from a game designed to handle 20,000 people. And that is the big thing they talk about here. They're still working off what they call their tech debt, and that's basically the easiest way of explaining that. They can't do a lot of these technically complex things until this tech debt is paid off, because they have to, optimize X, Y, and Z, make sure all of this client code is working, and they have to keep the game running at the same time while it's happening, which makes it even fucking harder. Then, here's what we're not working on. Replays for now. So, this section they're talking about projects they're not working on. Definitely replays here. We kind of figured that one out, and they pretty much go ahead and talk about technical demands again. Understandable. Replays are not exactly a nice thing to your servers, and if they're, if they don't have a solid code base to work with, this isn't going to happen. Now, the one that pisses me off to an unbelievable extent is the way that they talk about this next one, because they say we're not working on sandbox mode. And I'm just going to read out what's on this blog word for word. So, sandbox mode. We've heard a number of player requests for sandbox mode with two main reasons. The first is trying out new content, which is something we value too. We want players to know what they're getting and to be happy with the things that they're unlocking. The second is that players want to practice very specific skills without the constraints of a regular game. For this point, our stance is that sandbox mode is not the way to go. We want to make sure we're clear. Playing League of Legends should be an unequivocal best way for the player to improve. While there are very real skills one can develop in a hyperbolic time chamber, we never want to be an expectation added on to an already high barrier to entry. On an individual level, we know this isn't always true. Some people want a space to practice flashing over walls without having to wait 3.5 minutes in between, but when that benefit is weighed against the risk of sandbox mode grinding becoming an expectation, we can't accept the trade-off. We never want to see a day when a player wants to improve at League of Legends and their first obligation is to hop into a sandbox. We do want to support your ability to grow in mastery, and there may be other avenues to do so, but not this. That is the dumbest fucking explanation I have ever heard Riot come up with for a reason not to implement a feature. It's like saying practicing basketball will not make you a better basketball player because you can just play basketball. Why the fuck would you need to practice your free throws when you can just play basketball, Chris? Does that make sense to you?
I don't play
NBA has banned
basketball.
practice because the players are too good because they play basketball, Chris.
There's actually a famous basketball player who feels the same way. Carmelo Anthony.
So currently there's a thread right now which has pro player responses to it, and there's currently 17 pro player responses, and all of them are negative to their ruling on it. It's kind of sad though. It's like people want to get better at the game, but they don't think that enabling a sandbox mode puts it in the right direction, because people. What was the exact quote, Henderson? It was like,
hold on, I've got it right here. Answer like players will see sandbox mode as an expectation rather than a fun tool sounds like we know better, but it's a pretty significant concern when you look at other games where if a player wants to get involved, they need to hop into dozens of hours of training mode fast. Hold on, where is the exact thing I'm looking for here? Because I know there's something in here that really pissed me off in Pwith's response here.
It was near the bottom. It was the one about talking about ranked games and how people already tell them people to go play normal games, right? I'm assuming that's what it was.
Yeah, hold on.
It was pretty cool saying, like, there's already a situation in game where, like, if you mess something up in a ranked game, people say, go play normal because you don't know how to play this game. And they don't want to add another layer to it, which, I mean...
It's a stupid fucking excuse because they're letting their own players bully them into not doing it. There's no reason to do that. They say the exact same shit right now. Like, this is... The thing that's really, really weird about this is Riot is wrong in every way, shape, and form on this topic. There is no reason to not implement a sandbox mode with anything. They have not given us a good reason yet. It has not fucking happened. And, like, I'm trying to stay as calm as possible about this because they're wrong. And they're, like, right now, there is no legitimate other view. They are flat out wrong, and they do not see that. And that's really, really worrying to me because they don't understand why this is a useful thing, why this can only help competitive integrity, and why this is just something that needs to fucking happen eventually. Because, I mean, I understand it's going to be a very technically complex project. It's not a simple thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not a quick fix. It's not something that's going to come out after like 2 weeks worth of work. It's a tough thing, but it needs to fucking happen.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Anyways, we should probably move on to the next topic, though, because
I know. I was like struggling to figure out a way how to weigh in on this, but I can't because normally at this point in time, with Henderson having a stronger opinion about something, I'd try to offer devil's advocate, but I don't see one.
All right, devil's advocate. Hey, you're gonna get bullied into, like, hey, go. You should go practice that.
Are you saying you're not
Like, that's
already
gonna
being
be-
bullied into playing bot games?
No, I'm just saying it enables more of it.
It changes nothing but the words they're
no,
using.
it
Nick's trying to
100%
play-
increases it.
Yeah, but like you can't disagree that it is something that's probably needed for the game for
No,
competitive.
I mean, all right.
No,
All right, my opinion is that why the fuck isn't this, like, as soon as there is competitive League of Legends, why is there not a Sandbox mode? If not for casual players, then for professional players. I don't need Sandbox mode. If I want to get better at League of Legends, then I can go play, just like Riot's saying. But for these, professional players who need to practice insecting to where they're frame perfect, they have to be able to have a Sandbox mode.
I mean, my major thing here is you're saying that trolls can, like the devil's advocate for this is that trolls can use this as a tool to put people down. Trolls have
but it's
more than
just-
enough tools that are already existing to put people down, and this will not significantly change their reactions.
No, okay.
It doesn't give them more fuel to the
Yeah,
fire.
it doesn't
It just
change-
changes the words that they're saying, which when they're already telling you to get cancer and die, is it really better? I'm sorry, is it really worse to be told to go play Sandbox Mode than it is to get cancer and die? Guys, like, I just...
No, it's not.
Okay,
It's not.
That's the single argument that there is in Riot's favor, is that this is an additional tool for trolls to use, which is complete bullshit. But
it's not a good one.
It's a fair point. It's not a reason for them not to implement it.
It's a fair point in only the case that that these other things are actually affecting people in the way they see it. Like, of course, toxicity is going to be an issue, especially with a game that's like a MOBA, open all chat and stuff like that. But you can, like, restrict that shit. It affects you only as much as any other form of bullying in this game affects you. Which, if you ask anybody that plays this game that has a strong handle on themselves as players, or even like the professional players, like when they encounter bullying, they pretty much just ignore it. It doesn't matter. These people don't fucking matter.
This game is only as toxic as you let it be.
Yeah, you could turn that shit off. You can literally hit the off button on toxicity by just turning off communication. Yeah, that's it.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift /mute all.
Yeah.
There, you're welcome.
GG.
Yup.
All right.
So about that Fiora rework.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
God. We already talked about this a week or two ago.
Oh. We're going to talk about Fiora and why the PBE doesn't exist. This is the biggest lie in the history of League of Legends. So apparently there's a game-breaking bug. I'm not sure what it is, but I know Frost, you said something about it earlier.
Henderson actually mentioned it.
Oh, Henderson, okay.
It has something to do with when she gets in game, you can never reconnect after a certain series of things happen.
Perfect. That's a
So
pretty
until
common,
the game's
that's
over,
a
you're
pretty
just
common
fucked.
problem too.
Yeah.
You'd think that it'd be submitted on the PBE, although this rework was only on the PBE for like 2 weeks, which was way too short. But like, does the PBE exist at all? These champions get reworked, these champions come out, and immediately within 24 hours, the community just finds bugs that destroy the game.
I mean, sorry, I was gonna say, like, there's a really good comment on Reddit. Like, you can say, oh, maybe they didn't see it or maybe they didn't report it. But a great example of this was originally when Gangplank's ult was like random points on the circle, and then they changed it to like a static, like this many hits and this many locations sort of thing. When they changed his ult the first time, there was a bunch of bug reports on the PBE. It was like one of the most highest upvoted like things on the PBE boards about the fact that when the new Gangplank ulted with this new ult, Dragon stopped attacking, and that bug got pushed to live, and like I think it's the most highly upvoted bug on the PBE, the PBE League of Legends, whatever the website is, but like it still made it to live, and then Gangplank was disabled that afternoon. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if it's checked properly.
Oh shit, here it is. Pressing a series of buttons in a specific order causes you to DC permanently.
Perfect.
Yep.
Like,
Yep, so using your skills in a certain order causes a DC. Have fun, Fiora.
I don't. What's the point of the PBE if this testing isn't like, if these bugs are ignored? I don't understand.
Free skin.
You mean the skin showcase?
Yeah, exactly. The PBE is a like, hey, come check out these skins, and that's it. Like, that's it. There's nothing else there's no purpose for it except for that.
I think all that we can really say is that they have to look into it. Honestly, PBE needs to replace your bugs so this doesn't happen. I think that's all we can really say about it.
Or
though.
even the bugs that people discover to be,
It's weird
recorded.
that they let a lot of the
Yeah.
obvious ones get through, because like this isn't exactly a low profile bug. It was reported a couple times. It sounds like it's very easily replicatable if they disable the champion for it. So it's just like, well, okay.
Yeah. And then the whole shit show that was Gangplank and competitive integrity.
This is so funny.
Oh boy! So I don't know how many of you know, but there was the European Challenger Series, Dignitas EU, and what was the
Denial
other
Esports.
team? Denial Esports. Yeah. And in this game, one of the teams picked Gangplank. I don't. It was Denial, right?
Denial did, yeah.
Yeah, Denial picked Gangplank. Went top lane versus Wicked, who was playing Rumble. And there are some examples of Wicked not exactly playing 100%.
Oh, he played poorly, yeah.
He played really poorly. But there is no excuse for Gangplank being enabled in competitive play after being disabled for 3 weeks?
He was still disabled during the time of the game.
Yeah,
on live.
You couldn't play him anywhere except for in competitive play, and this was after a week and a half of Gangplank being live.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
The tweets are so funny. So, Wicked tweets out that he's like, I truly love the Builds Water event, smiley face. And then the guy who was playing against him, Wonderwear, he tweeted, first time Gangplank, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like, God damn.
ridiculous.
And we also want to mention the fact that competitive integrity.
That was only the first part of this fucking of this controversy. Go ahead, Frost.
So they're playing this game. First of all, for some reason, the Challenger Series promotion game isn't played on live in a studio. It's played online. So their support or their AD carry player? I'm pretty sure it's their AD carry. Their AD carry on the Wicked team was DDoSed, and he disconnects. First game he has a disconnect issue, so the second game they lose a bunch of bans. The second game he completely gets DDoSed and is offline. He literally can't connect. And the competitive ruling for when someone DCs on your team is you're not allowed to play a 4v5. You have to surrender if they don't connect within 10 minutes.
Yeah, so not only was this promotion
So
game
dumb.
not only was this promotion game filled with champions that, no one knew how to play against, being streamed off online, and it's not even an important game. Literally, what the fuck?
And I mean, Denial's really good about it. The Denial is so good about it. As an organization, Broken Chart, I think, is the coach of Denial, or he's the analyst. They pretty well. It's kind of collusion, but who really cares at this point? They pretty well. So second and third game, what's it called? Wicked's team didn't have bans because they had DCs. So Denial pretty well was like, hey man, what do you guys want banned, and we just won't pick it. So I mean, that's not confirmed, but I mean, there's been tweets saying hey, thanks for that. And it's the fact that the other team is so almost embarrassed by the way that the competitive event was held that they self-banned stuff from themselves. Almost that there must be a change to that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And then wasn't there? Didn't both the teams say they wanted to remake the game? And then
that was for Turkey.
Oh, that was for a game in Turkey. Both teams wanted to remake it, and I don't think they were able to.
Because the same thing happened. One of the teams got DDoSed. They couldn't play for 2 of the games. They got DDoSed, and the same thing happened. And then they've agreed to remake the game because the other team felt bad because it was they literally didn't
it's
play.
Bullshit.
And then Riot hasn't made a response to it, and that was 4 days ago or 3 days ago.
It's almost like Riot's been doing this for 4 years now, and they still can't get their head out of their asses.
It's
What-
been
what's
a
the-
long time since I've seen Riot just be flat out wrong on so many things in such a short period of time before. It hasn't been this bad since the time when their servers would be down for 3 days out of the week, every week, in NA and EU at the same time.
And when it was like that, I would expect stuff like this from them.
Yeah, they've
developing,
put
but,
on an
now
air
it's
of
kind of just
competence,
sad.
and they've been doing incredible things lately, and now they're just time and time again, they're making fuck up after fuck. Just this week, mostly, it's just fuck up after fuck up of extremely serious nature, and they don't see the problem with it.
But the tech debt, Henderson.
I
Protect
still think
doesn't
everything.
impact the money you're printing from competitive League of Legends.
They need to fix it. They just need to fix stuff like this. They need to make the rematch for them for both games, I believe. And I think that they just need to fix all this.
I don't understand how they don't see these problems. Disabling the champion and leaving him enabled in competitive play, because there's two options there that could have made this useful. We've all talked about dozens of times, but oh god, Riot, what are you doing? I love you guys, but come on.
So So I don't think the problem is that these issues exist. I just think it's their response to these problems,
or lack thereof,
or lack thereof. Like there's a player being DDoSed. Why, like, break the rules that you are the creators of? Remake the game. Like, you're not going to get in trouble for breaking these rules. All right. To end the news on kind of a good note.
Okay.
I had a change of heart about the Gangplank lore. Now that he's back with a new skin, like, badass.
You're in? You're in?
No, all right. Like, this Bilgewater event, fucking sick. The fact that he was disabled for 2 weeks instead of 2 days, bullshit.
It was pretty good lore, though. If you read through it all, it was actually a pretty good story.
All right. Everything except for Gangplank being disabled for 2 weeks, incredible. Like, at the best lore event, in my opinion, that Riot's done so far. 2 weeks is way too long for this kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, we know he's dead. Yeah, we can't play him. That's kind of a cool little trick. I want to go play Gangplank. What the fuck?
I'm kind of sad that Graves and TF aren't rivals anymore, but other than that, I'm really happy with all the lore. It's really well done.
Buddies.
It's good lore. Oh, that's what I'm happy about. Hopefully they have more of that.
Good. Speaking of good lore, just kidding. Let's move on to the champion spotlight for this week, shall we?
Yeah. News is finally over.
We gonna talk a little bit about Corky, the Yordle with the mustache number 2 besides Heimerdinger. And he's in a plane and stuff. So the lore surrounding Corky is kind of lackluster. And I was expecting something a little bit more complex. But basically, here's the too long didn't read of this lore, right? He's from Piltover. We knew that he's a colleague of Heimerdinger, and Heimerdinger basically was like, yo, I'm gonna build this plane for you, and he built this plane. And that's not even the important part. Like, it's not like it's a special plane or anything. It's just a plane. Like, he just flies in a plane. It's not like the best plane ever. It's not like his personal super duper great. It is the Rafflecopter, but that's all it is. I'm sorry, no, it's not the Rafflecopter. It's the Reconnaissance Operations Frontline Copter. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
An aerial assault vehicle which has become the backbone of the Bandle City Expeditionary Force, BCEF, which doesn't stand for anything fun. So he's part of this squadron called the Screaming Nipsnakes, and they would soar over Valoran, surveying the landscape and constructing aerial acrobatics for the benefit of onlookers below. But he tried to engage with a bunch of shit, with fighting and stuff. He volunteer missions that would take him behind enemy lines, either gathering intelligence or delivering messages through hot zones. He was like an adrenaline junkie. And he was known for being really great at dogfighting and always winning and shit like that. More than just an ace pilot, Corky also made several modifications to his copter. Oh boy, arsenal of weapons. That's it. That's all he did. Nothing super crazy. And people speculate that the weapons he put on his plane were more for show than functionality. Well, that sounds like how Corky works in the game right now. And then when hostility fell between all the different factions when the league came up, he's like, well, shit, now I'm bored, and went into retirement. And then Heimerdinger's like, oh, I went and joined the fucking League of Legends. And he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go do that too. And that's where they are. That's it. Now he fights
you ain't nothing
in League
but
of
a
Legends.
Whiskey Delta.
I really want, when I play Corky, for it to go first person and become a flying game. That'd be a lot of fun.
No, you don't.
I think that'd be great. No, yeah, I know I say that, but I don't really. But yeah, no, that's his lore. Pretty interesting, I suppose. He has a plethora of interesting skins. He's been through a rework or two. He's a cool dude. I think he's only been through one rework, actually, right? Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
Corky?
His Q changed.
Yeah, his Q changed and he got a visual update.
It didn't feel like a real.
It wasn't very much of a rework. It was like a visual update, and they tweaked his Q, and that was about it. So yeah, let's talk about his abilities. Why don't we hear that from Mr. Henderson?
Whoa.
Okay.
Or we could just have Nick who has them pulled up right now.
Nick has them pulled up.
Yeah,
Well,
I know him
Henderson-
pretty well, but it's
Henderson,
just like I don't really play Corky all that. I mean, I can.
I was just gonna have you do it because Nick and Frost like just talked for the past 45
Okay,
minutes.
works.
So.
Shut up.
You,
So
you
That's what the
Corky's
people
passive
wanna
makes
hear.
it- hey, my turn. Corky's passive makes it so his basic auto attacks deal bonus true damage to monsters, minions, champions. Pretty sure this is still set to a flat number, right?
10%?
10%
It's 10% of his AD.
of his AD. Yeah.
Okay.
Total
I thought
AD.
it was just a flat number of,
Well,
just
it is
like, it's like 10, 20, 30, 40 damage.
No, but it's a flat 10%.
No, okay, well that works for me, but shut up.
Flat 10%.
Flat 10%.
So his Q's gone through a lot of renditions, but the current one on live is Corky fires a flash bomb at target location, dealing magic damage to enemies in the area. Now this is basically a lobbed AoE skill that does a not small amount of damage. Like it actually hurts, honestly.
It's a not small amount of damage, but it's definitely not a big amount of damage either.
Yeah,
It's an
no.
amount of damage.
It's not like a Yasuo ult into a Q with static shiv or anything like
All right,
that.
it's
but
like moderately high.
Yeah, it's high for a single skill, but it's pretty easy to avoid if you're paying attention. That is.
Right.
God, that skill's been so broken other times. Instant cast did more damage than it did
Oh,
now.
man.
Used to blind. I mean,
Hate the lob now, but
Oh.
yeah, back in the day when it was just like pop, and just
yeah,
like blow
instant
people up.
pop blinds everything in the range.
Mhm.
It does more damage than it does now. Whatever.
Like a flash bomb.
So his W, this Corky like lifts up and then flies X number of units in a certain direction, and underneath him he leaves a trail that does AoE damage to anything standing on top of it. This is his just general escape skill. Moderate amount of I'm sorry, this is more like a low amount of damage from this skill. It's nothing impressive. The important part about this is the fact that you can use it as an AoE engage or disengage, and it gets you over walls and all that stuff. Then his E. This is kind of a neat skill, I think. Corky's Gatling gun fires rapidly in a cone in front of him, dealing damage and reducing enemy armor. So it's an AoE cone dot, I guess. And if you're standing inside of that dot, your armor is shredded and, does a moderate amount of damage. And then his ultimate, which is what makes Corky truly strong. If Corky fires a missile towards his target location that explodes on impact, dealing damage to enemies in an area, Corky stores up missiles over time to a maximum. This is like Teemo shrooms. He rustles up ammo and holds on to them, and then each cast of the spell uses a cast. And then every third missile fired will be a big one, dealing extra damage. That's Corky.
That's Corky, all right. Holy
Corky.
wow, whiskey! You're a real whiskey. Something
Whiskey
dumb.
Delta. Do you know what that means?
No.
It's shorthand for weak dick.
Is it really?
Yeah, it
Oh,
used to be like an
so-
aviation thing.
But people say whiskey dick now. Is that a different thing?
No, I think it's just basically the exact same thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's two different things that got merged into one over time.
I love two
Let me
things when they
just-
merge into one.
Let me just mention this really quick. I was quickly looking at Corky's abilities and stuff with my client, and you know how you can resize your client and move it around on your screen, right? So you know how there's a little X in the top hand corner of your client? If you move that off the screen to the right, and then you click on a champion in the champion select thing, and then you go to their overview, you can't leave the client. Because there's no way to move it while you're in the overview, and there's no way to exit out of it.
Look, here's the thing. I'm sorry for us. I'm sorry to hear about your technical difficulties, but we're currently paying off a tech debt right now. So if you could be a little
So
bit
if you
more
could fuck
understanding,
right off?
if you could just piss off, why don't you go hang out in Sandbox? Never mind. Let's move on to Corky's role. Let's hear it from our resident AD carry expert, Nick Cooper.
Oh boy.
I think I
Quickie.
just spoiled what his role was. For a second there.
He's an AD carry.
Oh, I play him as a caster though.
All right, he's an AD carry caster. He's not entirely based on
Have you ever,
his auto attacks.
have you ever played AP Corky before?
No.
It's a good
because that's
time.
a joke.
It was good
Oh,
a while ago when he had
you.
good
That's
skilling.
a
It
joke.
used to
Back
be good.
when it didn't have a cooldown between firing his rockets off. Yeah,
It was really
You're
good,
like,
honestly,
bap,
for a
bap,
while.
bap.
that it was all right. It wasn't better than AD carry Corky.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. You didn't even
Okay.
say anything. Your mic just lit up.
Okay.
I know. I just shook my head.
All right, yeah, he is the best AD carry in the mid game. As soon as he hits level 6, his damage output is probably top 3 highest in the game. He's a boss, is what my informants are telling me. Yeah, boss is the word. Yeah, he's really good. He's All right, yeah, he's a really good AD carry.
Okay.
Exclusively AD carry.
Okay, here's my follow-up question for you. Why is he a good AD carry or a bad AD carry? Like, where does he fall on the list of like people that are playing AD carries right now?
I think he's still in top 3 of AD carries being picked competitively right now. The current most popular build is Trinity Force into, I still think it's Sork Shoes.
Sork Shoes until
Blade of the Ruin King.
Mm-hmm.
When you're full build, you switch over your Sork Shoes though.
Yeah.
Because your ult does 0 damage late game.
If you get to late game Corki, you should just right click and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he falls in the top 3. His early game damage is really, really high. His mid game damage, as soon as he gets Sheen and then Trinity Force, is probably the highest of any AD carry. And then he kind of falls off super hard late game.
Okay. Build and skill order. Frost, I want to hear your input first. What do you max first?
We went over build, Chris.
Well, I mean,
for skill order,
fuck you, fine.
You always go alt over everything if you can. And then you go your Q because it's the best damaging skill in lane and it's very easy to hit. It's honestly seems like it has a bigger hitbox than it shows, in my opinion.
I believe so.
Now I think everyone likes to go E over W, but I really don't see a difference. Like W cooldown, I think it's kind of important to max W, but I think both of them are fine. Like E damage seems so low. I'm not sure what's actually like preferred in professional. Like W shortens the cooldown by a lot for escape.
I think it's situational.
I'm not sure. Like E, I've never thought his E does a lot of damage. It seems like it does very little damage, so I always max W. But I think E is probably the correct way.
If you're going against a team that doesn't have like a lot of assassins that are going to like pull you off and destroy you, you want to max Gatling gun first, because the more presence you have in these team fights, the more armor you're going to be reducing than if you're using it smartly. But if not, then you want to have Valkyrie so that you can get out of situations like from poor position or whatever more often. You know,
yeah,
and
like Valkyrie's. Valkyrie's a 26-second cooldown at rank 1, so I mean that's why I max it, because that's ridiculous.
Okay.
Whereas Gatling gun 16 seconds at every rank.
Fair. Do we have an argument otherwise, Nick Cooper?
Gatling gun does more damage.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Oh, what if they stand in the Valkyrie though?
Then you should have picked Rumble instead.
You're not wrong. Okay. Strengths and weaknesses, and we'll just also consider this the wrap up and final thoughts.
Early to mid game.
His late game is terrible, so that's his weakness.
Yeah.
Like, if you hit late game, you have to sell Sork Shoes, because the reason you buy Sork Shoes is because your Q does magic damage and your ult does magic damage, and those are your abilities that you're constantly spamming in between Sheen procs on your autos.
Yeah,
but
and your
game,
auto attack is already doing bonus damage too, just because you're passive.
Exactly. So late game, you get rid of those Sork Shoes so you have a chance. You want, like, your original attack speed boost late game.
Yeah. Okay, I would agree with that. I don't think that anything else needs to be said. Henderson, you want to weigh in on Corky before we bid adieu?
Nothing that hasn't been said already. I mean, he's been a strong carry for a long time, and it sounds like he's one of the stronger ones at the moment. I mean, he's not too crazy hard to play against. He's not too crazy hard to play as. It's something you get used to over time.
Okay. All right. Well, that's Corky. Let's move into this week's roundtable and see how many responses we got over the past 3 days since the last one.
Hey there.
Hi.
Sorry, I have the Gangplank music blasting because I had to relog because that stupid bug. So I was gonna say last week. So last Saturday's roundtable question was: you're on a vacation of your choosing. Where do you go, and which champion do you bring as your pal? So we had an answer on Twitter from Franco G. He said that he would go to Vegas with Twisted Fate because who's better to count cards with? He ain't wrong. He really ain't wrong.
Fair.
Ryan on Facebook said that he'd go he'd take Bard, but he would go wherever the magical journey will take him. He just aims it at the ground at different angles, and then there's a pathway to somewhere else.
That'd be so cool.
You have a high chance of coming out on the bottom of an ocean, though.
And die, yeah.
But you
can
good math.
8 seconds later, Chris, you can take another magical journey out, though.
I think the pressure of being at the bottom of the ocean would probably kill you.
Nah. And plus you have Bard Zonias. But anyways, moving on. Trenton says that he would go to Ireland with Gragas, because think of all the beer that he would buy him, and wearing kilts is actually acceptable there. So he ain't wrong, right? Like, actually, I wouldn't want to see Gragas.
Oh, I would.
You're wrong.
Okay.
But anyways, this week's roundtable question is, which champion from the league would you like to be the voice actor of your GPS to lead you on your journeys? Wow, that was pretty bad. Anyways, once again, which champion would you like to be the voice of your GPS to lead you on your travels? I'm gonna go with Nick Cooper first.
Sona.
Oh! Why isn't my car telling me when to turn? Oh shit!
She just makes noise.
It just plays music.
just plays the piano. Just like,
She's
oh,
got
God.
another radio.
That's funny. That's funny.
Chris Puner.
Corky.
No.
Corky would be really ridiculous, but I want him to like say I want him to say other names for things like take a foxtrot Omega at the next whiskey face. And I'm like
Whiskey Tango
I
Foxtrot.
don't understand what's going on, and then I'll be like, all right, let's set a new address and let's try this again, and then be like woo, and just a bunch of just like screaming and yipping at me like a madman.
Poonie, is that you?
When I when I miss my turn, he'll just like start screaming or like wah! It'd be great. I'd be on board for that.
That sounds pretty fucking cool. Henderson.
Morgan Freeman.
Not a champion.
Oh. Can I get Lollipoppy and falsetto then?
No. The
That
answer
is
is
a champion.
No. How about Warwick?
Fuck that.
How about
When
Victor?
will Morgan Freeman voice the champion?
Victor would
though?
be a good one. How
Take a
about
glorious left.
Why do you think it's taking so long to make Ao Shin?
Oh shit.
take a revolutionary right?
Straight on to the Nexus.
The Nexus should be on your right.
Keep to the left lane ahead.
Okay. What about you, Frost?
I'm trying to think of the champion with the coolest voice in the game, and
Is it
I
you?
honestly, the answer is Rammus. Okay.
Okay.
When
Recalculating route. Okay.
Okay. You're so fun.
Ramis, take me home. Okay.
No, but I think that'd be really, really good. Yeah, I love that.
I wouldn't mind Malphite either, or Skarner. And if Skarner every once in a while, if Skarner just like kept reminding me about how tragic his story is, like it's just
I miss
we're like
my kind.
Yeah, he just says that.
Take a
we're
left.
and we're like an 8-mile like stretch, and he hasn't said anything because he's not going to say anything until I get within a half mile my next turn, and like around mile 4, he's like, "I miss my kind." I'm just like, Skarner, oh. Poor Bubby.
That'd be really, really good.
Yeah, that'd be really funny.
Yeah, so Chris, how do people tell us their great answers for this week's question?
They can respond in a myriad of ways. One being via email. That's mailyleakcastpodcast.com. I'll reiterate that email address at the end because I realized I just said that super fast. But you can also respond to the post on Facebook and or Twitter as soon as they go up, which should be as soon as this episode gets up because I usually do those all at the same time. But for those of you who don't know where to find us on Facebook and or Twitter, you can like us on Facebook, just search for Leakcast, and then follow us on Twitter at Leakcast. We actually recommend that you do so because that's how we engage with people most often. But yeah, speaking of emails, let's move into Mail Fight.
Hey, just one, and it's some pretty praising words from Eddie Elridge. He said, "Holy shit, that live event was fucking great. I don't think I've ever laughed so much at an episode of Leaguecast. Keep up the great work. I don't know what I would do without any of you guys. God bless. He wishes he could have gone, but he lives in Ireland. Shout outs to Ireland. But still, It's awesome that you got to a point where you can have an event that size and have people show up. Good luck with everything. He'll be listening. P.S. Chris, the beard is fucking sweet."
Oh, finally somebody noticed my beard
beard's pretty good.
game. My beard game.
Beard game on point.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thanks,
we
Eddie.
were pretty hype about the meetup too. This was like our first ever event where we did live recordings. And we've done a couple of recordings like with each other. I think pre
In
Nick
the same
Cooper.
room. Yeah.
Yeah, we've done it like in my basement before, huddled around a mic that was omnidirectional, like touching knees and being really uncomfortable for a solid 90 minutes. But like,
Dude, we'd always get up and get snacks and shit, and you could hear us rustling around in the background, like slamming a fridge.
yeah,
Yelling at you
people
from across the
opening
room,
up
"Fuck
pop,
you, Chris!"
people just like opening up pop cans near the stairs because trying to make it quiet, but you would still hear like, sorry. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a really good time. Yeah, it was really, really fun meeting a couple of new people that showed up and a lot of the same people that showed up last year. And it was a bigger one, and we hope to make the next meetup even bigger and or better. So happy to hear you liked the live recordings because that's definitely one thing that we all agreed on with people that have asked. that we'll do again next year. So thank you very much for your kind words. You're the bomb.
And go check out the Casual Cast episode.
Yeah.
That was
So fun.
fantastic.
It
is
was
easily
really
the best
fun.
episode I've ever heard them record.
Agreed.
Yeah, it was pretty great. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I don't want to spoil it for you, so go listen to Casual Cast, the most recent one. They did a really good job. And if you want to see the video of that, you can find it on our Warfinch YouTube page.
Yeah, I would totally recommend the video too, because it's
Yeah.
even funnier
Yeah.
when we can actually watch it.
Yes,
Especially when we're
it's
sitting there yelling at them half the time.
about them failing Connect 4.
If you want to
Somebody-
hear us just argue the whole time, the Hearth is really good too.
Yeah, the other wasn't so bad. There was a point in time when Josh, Henderson's friend, was sitting next to me, and he would always, every single
Lethal.
time, he would just, there's lethal on the board. There's lethal on the board. I'm like, Josh, the play's like, no. This is frustrating. Anyway, yeah, so that's going to be the end of the show. This is kind of a longer one. Thanks for sitting through all of us trying to dig through all these exciting, important changes and stuff like that. Hopefully, we'll actually have some other news to talk about in the future. I'm sure we'll have more. We'll revisit a lot of these things as we play them ourselves, as these things become live and operational, like the Fiora rework and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll be talking about that in the future. If you want to listen to our other shows like Casual Cast, you can visit our website at warfinch.com. Again, our Facebook and Twitter, you can like us on Facebook, just search for Leadcast, and on Twitter as @Leadcast. Send us emails of any shape or form or size. Please, no nudes. That would be, actually, no, Nick's the one that reads the emails. I'm not sure what he wants. I don't want to speak for him.
Yeah, go ahead and send nudes.
Ari hentai.
You heard him. You heard it here. Mail at
regret that, Nick.
leakcastpodcast.com.
Yeah, don't send nudes, please.
Yes. So yeah, sorry, mail at leakcastpodcast.com. Go ahead and send us whatever you want. Not nudes and not whatever Frost said. And I'm sorry, I missed the most important thing. Our Teamspeak server, which was pretty much, 80% of the meetup and why it was so much fun. You should get involved and hang out and play games with us too. Just download TeamSpeak 3, the client, and then join the server. The server address is ts.leadcastpodcast.com. No password because it's open and free for you to join. Hop on in, meet everybody. We have a bunch of really great people to hang out here. I met Frost and I met Nick through this TeamSpeak, and now they're on the show and a core part of what we do here together. So
if you want to be on the show, join TeamSpeak.
and then hang out for 3 years.
Yeah.
But no, if you want to get involved with the community and be more hands-on and stuff and get to talk to us and just basically have a great time, the TeamSpeak is the most optimal way to do so.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then the last thing is the Patreon. If you want to support our show, our shows, and or the Hearth, which has its own separate one. First of all, the Hearth is patreon.com/the Hearth. But the one for all of our other shows right now, which includes Leakcast, is patreon.com/Warfinch. There's a bunch of really cool perks and stuff for being a patron. I guarantee you'll find something you like on there. So go take a look-see, even if you can only give even a penny a month. Every little bit helps. $1, can you do that? Half a pack of gum a month, that would be awesome. We love you forever, and you'd be a cool dude in our hearts and minds. But other than that, that's gonna do it. We'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Goodbye.